Okay, hello YouTube, it's Tyler, and today we are going to learn to finish the first layer. Awesome. So let's do this. If you're watching this video at this point, you probably already know how to solve the cross. You should know how to solve the cross. If you don't, go back to there'll be a link to my first video on how to solve the cross. Okay, so once you know the cross, you need to find the white corners. If we're solving the white side, you have to find the white corners. And so what you want to do first is locate one of them. So I see this white corner right here because it's got the white sticker on it. I see that it's got white, but it's got red and green on it. So if you think about it, it's got to go in a certain spot on the cube, because if it's not in that certain spot, the cube won't be solved, right? So this piece, since it's white, red, and green, it has to go between the white, red, and green centers. So if it's here, then you'll perform an algorithm to insert it up here. So that would be the algorithm. That's just brief to show you that, see how this has to go here because it lines up with its centers. So that's basically what you need to do. So I'm just going to quickly solve this. So this one is red, white, and blue, so it has to go between the red, white, and blue centers. So it has to go up here. Now this one is white, orange, and green, and it has to go up here because it has to go between those centers. So that's the concept, is it just has to go between those centers. See how this is all nice and lined up and everything? Because that's how it has to be when you're done. So I'm going to scramble this up, and we're going to go over each algorithm. So let me scramble this up. Okay, so at this point, there's 3 different situations you can find a corner in as, and the first situation I'm going to teach you is probably the most difficult, but it makes sense if you think about it. So the first situation is, obviously there's only 3. It can either be on the bottom, it can be on the right, and it can be on the front. So when you find it on the bottom, this is the first one I'm going to teach you because it's the most difficult, and you can find this algorithm in the description, and also I'll link a PDF so you can print out these. So if you're just on the go and you just need to whip out your sheet or whatever, you can do that. So this algorithm, what you do first, the first step is you find where it needs to go. So you see this white piece, you find where it needs to go. It's white, green, and red. So it has to go you put it underneath the white, red, and green centers. So here's green and red. Here's green and red here. It needs to go in between those two and white. So it needs to go here. So this piece actually needs to go here, because if you think about it, if it's white, it needs to be here. It needs to line up with this green one. It needs to line up with this one. So when you put it underneath where it needs to go, you perform the following algorithm. And you will find, or again, you'll find this in the description or your PDF or whatever. But this is when white is on bottom, when the side you're solving is on bottom. You do R prime D2 R D R prime D prime R D. Okay, so see how that inserted it in the right spot? So that's what you do. So let's go to a next situation. The next 2 are fairly simple, and they're only 4-move algorithms. So this situation right here, when you're holding this on front, the white is on the right. So it needs to go between the white, orange, and green centers. So it has to go here because it's white, orange, and green. So it has to go here between the white, orange, and green centers. See that? So you put it beneath where it needs to go. You hold it like this, and when the white sticker, the side you're solving's on top or on the right, you do this following algorithm: R prime, D prime, R, D. And technically that could almost be 3 moves, but right now it's best to learn the 4-move algorithm because you'll end up using it later in the cube solving. So then we find this situation again. So find the next white piece. This one right here again, it has the white on the bottom, so we find out where it needs to go. It needs to go between the blue and the orange centers. So it cannot go here because that's the blue and the red. So you have to put it here below where it needs to go. So since it's on the bottom, again, you do R prime D2 R D R prime, D prime, R. And then, so that'll put that in. And then the other situation, which we didn't run into, hold on, let me get the situation, is when the sticker's on the right. So this algorithm is also fairly simple. If you think about it, you're just moving this over here, bringing this side down, inserting it, and then bringing that back up. But let me show you what the algorithm is. Just if you learn better from algorithms versus like simple like logic like that, algorithms will help you out. So basically this algorithm is D prime, R prime, D, R. And that inserts it. So that's the basics. That's all three algorithms. That's how you put it in. And really, that's all there is to it. If you have any confusion, you can comment or whatever. But for the most part, it's just finding this piece, figuring out where it needs to go, between what centers does it need to go, depending on the colors, and then putting it below where it needs to go, and then finding out what situation it is, whether it's on the right, front, or bottom, and executing the algorithm that I gave you that you can download in either a PDF or is in the description. So, thank you guys. I hope this was helpful.